where you are when you don't think you can do something. You just don't think you can pull it off. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to adjust now to the most confident physiology you've ever been in your life. So sit the way you'd be sitting if you felt unstoppable. Like if you had a goal or an outcome and you were absolutely unstoppable, nothing was going to break through. Some of you have been through the Firewalk seminar. You might take that physiology where there's nothing in this world that's going to stop you. You've got to desire a goal and that's it. Now, as you're doing that, feel it in your face, feel it in the way you breathe, feel it in the way you look, the focus of your eyes, the muscles in your body. Continue to feel these great feelings where you're totally confident and strong. And notice the difference. Now go from this state back to you're not sure. Somebody going, no way. Go back to like, oh, God, I'm not really sure. God, I don't think I can pull it off. Now, back into total confidence. Snap into a confident state where you are absolutely certain you can do this. There's nothing that's going to stop you right now. Make it in your face and your breathing. Now, while you're in this state, if you can feel the difference, and it's major, raise your hand so I can see that you can definitely do it. Anybody here not? Okay, you all feel the difference. Now, what I want you to do is in this same physiology, think about that thing you didn't think you could do a moment ago, but stay in this state. Think about things you didn't think you could do, but now you're in this state, and think about it. How many of you feel like you could do it now? Raise your hand if you think you could do it. So the reason is, have you ever had a project that was like such a difficult project, you didn't know where to begin, it was so difficult? Like you didn't know, where am I going to start with this thing? But then somehow eventually you got around to doing it? The only difference was you could always do it. You always had the ability. The difference is the way you looked at it and the way you felt. See, at one time you felt overwhelmed because of your physiology. Another time you felt strong enough to just take it on. So you can do this consciously. Now, what I also want to show you is that you can take on other people's physiologies and start to feel the way they do. You can consciously model someone else's physiology and get to feel the way they feel. So let's try something here. We've got a picture here of a couple of different people, and what I'm going to ask you to do is be an actor or an actress, even though you may not be, but to adopt their facial expression, their posture, and I want you to notice what it does to your body, that you'll start feeling like they feel. So we've got a couple examples here. I need some volunteers. I need a man volunteer for starters here. Can I have a volunteer out of the group here? Great. Why don't you come on up here? Thank you. Give him a hand. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, we've got some pictures here that we're going to show, and Vinny here's volunteered, so we're going to start with this one right here, Vinny. What I'd like you to do is just, to the best of your ability, it doesn't have to be perfect, adopt the physiology that you see here. Take on the same, you might start with your legs in the same position, basically, then move your arms in the same position, then move so that your shoulders are basically in the same place. Try and take on the same facial expression, the same head tilt, same eye tension and relaxation, same mouth position. How do you feel right now?
I feel pretty good. I feel pretty excited.
Well, you really sound like it, Vinny, I'll tell you. Now, take a look at it again, and there's something you aren't doing that would make a difference. See what you're not doing with your body.
His mouth.
Okay, there's some of his mouth. Also, he's extended more. Pull your body up higher. Now, how do you feel?
I feel much, much better.
Okay. What would be an emotion to describe the state you're in?
It's like I just completed something that I was really proud of, and that I'm like really great that I finished it.
Fabulous. Very good. Thanks. Give me a hand. Have a seat real fast. That one's pretty simple. Let's try another one. How about Mary Jo? Why don't we have you come up here and help us with this one? It's a little leaning physiology here. Take on the same facial expression, same look in your eyes. I better hold you here. Okay, go ahead. Try it. And how does that feel?
It feels very joyous.
Very joyous.
Yeah.
Okay, take a look at it, see how you might enhance it. And see how you could extend something in your facial expression or something that makes it even better.
Okay.
How does that feel?
Very joyous.
Very joyous. Okay, good. Give her a hand. Thanks a lot. So what we're having these people do by duplicating someone's physiology is just basically send the same messages through their physiology into their body, so they're duplicating or creating very similar states. They begin to feel similarly, and they've got a very strong advantage in possibly even behaving in a similar way. Now, an important point to note is, anytime you change the way you use your physiology, it's also going to change the way you represent things. Meaning when you feel physically vibrant, it tends to change the way you look at the world, the way you talk to yourself about things. Also, conversely, anytime you change the way you're picturing things, or you say to yourself, hey, I can make this happen, it physically changes the way your body starts to work. So these are constantly interacting with each other, both physiology and internal representations, on what we call a cybernetic loop. That is, if you affect one, it's going to impact the other, and vice versa. Right now, if I asked you about something that happened to you yesterday, or happened to you when you were a child, If you told me what happened, would you be telling me exactly what actually occurred? Of course not. Everything that's going on in your head, all of your memories are nothing but myths. Because the reality is, any moment in time when you think you're having an experience, you're not getting the exact experience of what's happening in the world. But what you're actually getting is a set of triggers that your brain is coordinating to make images and sounds. In other words, your 5 senses are like triggers. They're like the keyboard to the computer, and somebody's hitting those keys. But I can go up to a computer and hit the keyboard, and sometimes on the screen I get paragraphs, and sometime on the screen I might get, different types of shapes. It may not be in paragraphs at all. And what determines what's going to happen is the organizing principle in that computer, the floppy disk, if you will, the programming it has. So a lot of us have been programmed to look at the world a certain way. So when things happen, we see certain aspects, and for us, that's reality. And our programming can make a major difference as to whether we're happy or whether we're sad. So in other words, how we represent, that's what representation means. We represent in our brain what we think just happened will determine how we feel. If we take control of how we present things to ourselves, how we picture, what we picture, how we talk to ourselves, what we listen to, then obviously we can change the way we feel and the way we behave. One of the ways you can change the way you represent things is by using what we call a scramble technique. In other words, almost all of us have had times when we've had a situation that happens, like our boss yelling at us, or a situation where we get in an argument, and then what happens is, for the rest of the weekend, we keep replaying that tape over and over in our head. So it's really important to be able to change that. And one of the ways to change that is literally just to take that mental movie and run it backwards, to change some of the colors and the shapes and the way in which we perceive it. And if we do that enough, if we keep rewinding it and changing it, in essence what we do is we change the way we're going to see it in the future. And when we see it in a new way, we feel a new way as well. So let me give you an example of this. Let's take a look. What if your boss treated you like this?
I can't believe you are so incompetent. I have no idea why I even hired you. And if you don't change your ways, you'll be sorry.
So what do you do in a situation like this? How does it make you feel? Being verbally abused rarely motivates an employee to want to do better and be better. So if you leave, you've got 2 choices. One is, for the rest of the weekend, you keep running this mental movie and you get more and more angry at your boss. Or the other one is, you just go ahead and change it.
I can't believe you are so incompetent. I have no idea why I even hired you. And if you don't change your ways, you'll be sorry.
Now, let's have you do one like this yourself. Close your eyes and think of a situation that's really bothered you a lot, something that's challenged you, something that when you think about it, doesn't give you too good a feeling. And very quickly, what I want you to do is go to the end of that experience, as if it was a movie, to the last moment of that movie that you don't have such great feelings about. And then what I'd like you to do is just run it backwards as fast as you possibly can. Very, very, very rapidly. Watch everybody moving backwards. Watch them eating their words literally. Watch the words going back in their throat. The movement's changing. The facial expression is changing. In fact, make it your favorite color now. Make it the color you want it to be. And make the person's face begin to change. So that if they're yelling, their voice becomes very squeaky like Mickey Mouse. And hear the song in the background going, M-I-C-K-E-Y. M-O-U-S-E. So with this scramble technique, all we're really doing is changing the way you're representing something in your head. By running it backwards very, very rapidly and forwards and changing some of the colors and shapes, all we're doing is rewiring the way you remember it. So in the future, when you try and represent that situation, it's represented in a way that makes you laugh or puts you in a humorous state, or at least a neutral state, instead of the old pictures and sounds that used to make you feel really lousy. Take a look here at this example here. As you can see, this is an old woman. Now, take a good look at this old woman and think about what state she might be in if you looked at her face. Now look at this picture here. As you can see, it's another old woman. Now take a look at her and decide, what state is she in? How is she feeling? Is she happy? Is she sad? Now, this second old woman is not an old woman at all. According to the artist who drew it, this is a picture of her beautiful daughter. Can you see the beautiful daughter there? None of you can? Take a good look. So as you can see, if you begin to make these little changes, if, for example, you see the old ugly woman and you begin to look at her and you notice that her chin is actually in her coat, that's what it looks like initially. If you notice what that chin is, it actually becomes like a necklace, okay, on the neck of the young woman. Just take a look and we'll do the details of it for you. Now, how many of you can see it? Great. Now, the point here is we could show